Hello everybody, I hope all of you are healthy and safe. Cambridge International School Rasua has taken the initiative to reach out to every child at this time of crisis COVID-19 pandemic. Myself Rita from Cambridge International School Rasua, your political science teacher, and today I am going to deliver the topic security in the contemporary world chapter, and topics that I would be covering in this video: new sources of threat, global poverty, migration, health epidemics, cooperative security, India's security strategy. So these topics we would like to clear here. So first, actually the security, total 5 parts were there, and the 2 terrorism and human rights we have discussed in earlier video. So now third is global poverty. Yes, global poverty is also responsible for the new sources of threats. Like non-traditional conception, both human security and global security focus on the changing nature of the threats of the security. So now we will discuss how global poverty is also responsible for the threat. Global poverty is another source of insecurity. World population now almost 8 billion, that will grow more in future. Currently, half of the world's population growth occurs in just 6 countries: India, China, Pakistan, Nigeria, Bangladesh and Indonesia. Among the world's poorest countries, population is expected to triple in the next 50 years, whereas many rich countries will see population shrinkage in that period. So we can say that low income and high population growth makes poor state poorer. Southern world is richer and north is poorer. Poverty is extremely high in Africa. So globally, this disparity contributes to the gap between northern and southern countries of the world. So we can say that global poverty is really a major threat. So further, another factor for security sources of threat is migration. Yes, my dear, migration. Poverty lead to large scale migration to seek a better life. Because we migrate to one place to another place only for the better opportunity and only for the better standard of living and only for the jobs and opportunities. So states are supposed to accept refugees, those who flee from war, natural disasters or political persecution. But they do not have to accept migrants, those who voluntarily leave their home countries for better economic opportunities. We can see that from 1990 to 95, 70 states were involved in 93 wars which killed about 60 lakh people at that time. So migration is another factor responsible for new threats. Like poverty in South has also led to large scale migration to the seek for better life, especially better economic opportunities in the North. So this has created international political friction. While refugees leave their country of origin, people have to fled their homes but remain within the national borders called internally displaced people. Like Kashmiri Pandits that fled the violence in the Kashmir Valley in the early 1990s are the example of this internal displaced community. As a result, individuals and families and at times whole communities have been forced to migrate because of generalized fear of violence and due to the destruction of livelihood, identities and living environment. So this factor is also responsible for the threat. Last topic which we are going to discuss, that is health epidemic. Success or failure of one country in limiting the spread of epidemics affect the infection in other countries. Like coronavirus is spreading now. HIV/AIDS, bird flu, SARS, Ebola virus, hantavirus, hepatitis C are severely affected the world. Cooperation among the states are essential to check the epidemic effectively. Because now you see that the whole world is suffering from this deadly disease, coronavirus. So we can say that by 2003, an estimate 4 crore people were infected by HIV/AIDS worldwide. 2/3 them in Africa and half of the rest in South Asia. See, in North America and other industrialized countries, new drug therapies dramatically lowered the death rate from HIV/AIDS in the late 1990s. But these treatments were too expensive to help poor. regions like Africa, where it has proved to be a major factor in driving the region backward into the deeper poverty. While old diseases like TB, tuberculosis, malaria, dengue fever and cholera have been mutated into the drug-resistant form that are difficult to treat, epidemics among animals have also major economic effect. So such epidemics demonstrate the growing interdependence of states, making their borders less meaningful than in the past. And they emphasize the need for international cooperation. फिर हमें जरूरत पड़ती है दूसरे देशों की हेल्प के लिए. Like this time we are also helping other countries, those who are deadly suffering from the disease coronavirus. Non-traditional conception of security vary according to the local condition. ये अलग अलग होते हैं अलग अलग जगहों पर. Like I am giving you example. For example, the Maldives may feel threatened by global warming because of a big part of its territory may be submerged with the rising sea level. Whereas for countries in southern Africa, HIV/AIDS poses a serious threat. In 1 in 6 adults has the disease. This we can add in non-traditional conception of security. Now, we will discuss about the cooperative societies. Cooperative societies means we have to help each other, each country at the time of crisis. Like international cooperation is essential to elevate poverty, manage migration and refugee movements, and control epidemic. Military forces is useful only to eliminate terrorism and human rights violations, and force should be the last resort to resolve it. Otherwise, we have to cooperate with each other to solve the issues, to solve the problems. Far more effective is to devise strategies that involve international cooperation, may be bilateral. Bilateral means between any two countries, regional, continental or global. It would all depend upon the nature of the threat. So cooperative security may also involve both international and national. International organization, UN, the World Health Organization, and the World Bank and IMF, which we have discussed in our last chapter. Non-government associations like Red Cross and private foundations, charities. So these associations, social and development organizations, business and corporations, and even great personality, for example Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela, those who have cooperated to delete all these differences from the society. At last, I would like to say the international community may have to sanction the use of force to deal with governments that kill their own people or ignore the misery of their populations who are devastated by poverty. So cooperative society should come forward to delete these kinds of differences. Now 4 components of Indian security strategy, क्योंकि हमारी security strategy के 4 main point है. Fine. So we are all time like India has faced traditional and non-traditional threats both to its security that have emerged from within as well as outside its borders. So its security strategy has 4 broad components. One by one I will explain each to you. Like first, strengthening military capabilities. Conflicts with Pakistan and China compelled us to strengthen its military. अपनी रक्षा के लिए तो we have to make war, we have to make all the weapons. So India also conducted nuclear tests. Fine. So we can say that the first component was strengthening its military capabilities, because India has been involved many conflicts like in Pakistan 1947-48, फिर दोबारा हुई थी पाकिस्तान के साथ 1965, then 1971 and 1999, and China 1962. So since it is surrounded by nuclear armed countries in the South Asian region, India's decision to conduct nuclear tests in 1998 was justified by the Indian government in terms of safeguarding national security. तो इंडिया फर्स्ट टेस्टेड अ न्यूक्लियर डिवाइस इन 1964, जिसको सबने पूरी दुनिया ने सही कहा था. एंड फर्दर कैन वी मूव टू सेकेंड फैक्टर. द सेकेंड फैक्टर इज स्ट्रेंथन इंटरनेशनल नॉर्म्स एंड इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन. हमेशा हमने यूएन की, साकी और नैम की सपोर्ट की है. फाइन. इंडिया आर्ग्यूड फॉर disarmament, equal rights for all the nations in the trade and all other spheres. Like we can say that India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, supported the cause of Asian solidarity, decolonization and disarmament. And the UN as a forum in which international conflicts could be settled. So India troops have been sent abroad on UN peacekeeping missions in support cooperative security initiatives. Third factor which is responsible for this, that is मीटिंग सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस विद इन द कंट्री. हमारे देश के अंदर भी कुछ ऐसे चैलेंजेस है विच द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज़ टू, इवन the government of India has to solve each and every aspect of war and every threat within the country. So the third component of Indian security strategy is geared towards meeting security challenges with the country. Like separatist movement in Nagaland, Mizoram, Punjab and Kashmir threaten the unity of India. कुछ राज्यों में ऐसी प्रॉब्लम, ऐसे threats होने, movements होने which could definitely affect the whole India. So India always tries to preserve national unity by following a democratic political system. So I am giving example here, like some of the challenges, like you are watching at your screen Operation Blue Star. We have to not explain all the Operation Blue Star क्या था वो, but we can give example like these operations through which India tried to solve its problems like threats and movements. So developing economy, this is the best solution, this is the best aspect to make our country a balanced one. Develop economy. India attempts to develop economy to eradicate poverty and to reduce economic imbalance. There is a pressure on the democratically elected government to combine economic growth with human development. Thus, democracy is not just a political ideal. A democratic government is also a way to provide greater security to all the people. So, we shall read the same topic, successes and failures of Indian democracy in this respect in the textbook Politics in India since Independence, which is our paper 2 now, my dear. So, in that chapter, we will discuss the same factor. So, this is for the day only, and now let's learn, revise and write. First question you will write and learn, and also taking help from your NCERT book, because today so I have covered till page number 113. Fine. So first question you will write in copy. What are the objectives on military alliances? Give an example of functioning military alliances with its specific objectives. वो भी लिखने हैं. Second question. Rapid environment degradation is causing a serious threat to security. Do you agree with this statement? And please justify your arguments. Question number 3. Nuclear weapons as deterrence or defense have limited uses against contemporary security threats to states. Explain the statement. Yes, this is a hot question. Looking at the next question is, looking at the Indian scenario, what type of security has been given priority to India? Traditional or non-traditional? What examples could you cite to clarify, to justify this argument? So my dear, we will meet in next video and we will start the new chapter. Till then, bye and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much.